What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to break down some very important levels on SPY and these different tickers. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. Putting in $25,000 or more guarantees you 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. Now, this offer ends in just about 6 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. When it comes to SPY, we just had the CPI report that came out, and this ended up being aligned with expectations. Unfortunately, it was not below expectations, and it was very close to doing so. So core CPI month over month was close to consensus at 0.3%. Core CPI was at 4%, once again aligning with the forecast and the consensus. Then we had CPI year over year at 3.1%, aligning with the consensus and the forecast. Everything was as expected, and this has helped the market make some interesting moves. So SPY basically pumped to 464, came back down. This is actually looking not the best as we got this big rejection. So if this does retrace a little bit, I don't consider it the end of the world because I still think that SPY will ultimately run more after the FOMC meeting and such. But for now, the overall data was just aligned with expectations. It wasn't as low as what I was hoping for. I was hoping we would see a 3% or like 2.9% CPI. It was just 0.1%, a little bit higher than what I thought. But it's okay. SPY is still at this 462 resistance, and we're going to be watching some important levels after that. Now, when it comes to some things affecting the markets, the December momentum remains as the market's flat right now. We have Oracle dropping 9% after it missed its estimates in three of four key resource segments. On top of this, Ford is cutting its planned 2024 production of the F-150 Lightning pickup. It's going to once again start a reversal for the EV, and that's big news for them. And this news is just continuing as is. Now, on top of all of this, I just want to mention that the CPI report showed that 0.1% consumer prices, a slight little increase from that end, but overall everything else was as expected. And the market was expecting something better to push more. Instead, we're just very flat right now. SPY is pretty flat at the time I'm recording this. And now the question is what's going to happen. So I think that's going to be very, very sideways. We could retrace a little bit after getting this big wick right here. So look at a little retracement, then a bounce back up, and lots of sideways price action, at least for the time being. Now, moving forward, we have FOMC for tomorrow. This could once again cause even more volatility, but my view of the market has not changed. Even if today is kind of like a sideways day, we weren't getting the pump we were hoping for, despite how the data looked. But I think that we're still going to ultimately see 467 later on. I don't think that the market is done with the rally. And I still favor the upside for the future. So that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening, at least from this point on. Now let's break down some levels. So you're going to be watching 461.5. This is where we could see SPY try to bounce before starting to push up more. Then we have 460 below that, and we have 458 as support. Resistance, we have 462. If we break above this, watch 463. Then we have 464 above that. Look for a little drop in pop, and we'll be watching to see how this moves. We're very flat, at least right now, on SPY. In the QQQ, we got a crazy pump yesterday. This thing is doing something similar as SPY, kind of pumped and dumped. Look for a backtest of this yellow trend line at 394.8, and we'll see if it bounces from there. Still holding up. If we end up projecting from there, watch 393 as support and 391. I don't think it's going to drop that hard, but we could see it actually retest this gap right over here at this 395 area before it attempts to bounce back up. So I might see this retrace a bit, then trade sideways on the QQQ. And we'll see if the buyers could defend. I still think the QQQ is going to approach 400 later on during the month, but we're not ready just yet. On Nvda is actually selling off. We're just barely holding this blue trend line. If we end up rejecting here, if we fail to bounce here, expect it to come down to 457.5, potentially these lower levels at like 452. So watch support right here on Nvda. It's barely holding the blue trend line. If it bounces here, watch 465. Then we have 468 above that and 471.5. So watch the blue trend line. That's going to be very important. As far as Tesla goes, Excuse me, guys. Tesla right now is kind of flat right now at this 238 area. Watch resistance at 240 and 242. We're still continuing to get very, very tight. It is still, once again, trying to hold these levels. We may have to try to adjust this trend line from this point, but I'll do that later on. If we're bearish on Tesla, you want to see it lose 236. If that fails us, it's going to come down to 233. As of right now, Tesla's trying to hold 238, so we'll see how it goes from now as it's trying to be range bound. And finally, for Apple stock, uh, Aapl right now is kind of flat. We still have this unfilled gap well above. We're going to be watching support at 192.5. If that fails us, there's 192 and then 191. Resistance, make sure you watch 193, 193.5, and then 195 right over here. So it's going to be watching these levels on Aapl. It might just remain range bound again between 193.5 and 192. I think it's just going to go back and forth, and we'll be watching to see what the rest of the market does. SPY is flat, guys. It's not really like sinking extremely hard. We're still going to be watching support around that 461.5 area. And some stocks are a little down, like Tesla, but most stocks are not that red just yet. So we'll be watching to see how they continue to move. And with that being said, guys, right, CPI, sometimes unexpected things could happen. The data I had suggested would be a little bit lower, but it's still close to expectations. It's aligned with expectations. So we will see how this affects the volatility for today. Thus far, SPY is flat. Tesla's just down a teeny bit, and everything else, most stocks are kind of flat, like the IWM. Even Apple's kind of flat. So we'll see how this goes. And then don't forget, we have the FOMC meeting for tomorrow. We'll see how that affects us as well. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Don't forget to remain calm, cool, and collected amidst all the chaos that goes on in the markets. And once again, when it comes to economic data, sometimes unexpected things could happen. I mean, we can't always predict everything right. I was really thinking when looking at the data, we would get a decent CPI when it's a little bit lower than this at 3% or below that. Instead, it was at 3.1%. So just 0.1% higher, but still, it was definitely like an improvement compared to the last CPI. The last time it was at 3.2%. Now it's at 3.1%. So slight improvements. The Fed is most likely going to like skip amidst this. This could even be their final, their pause essentially. So the Fed might just pause on the rate hikes, and this could lead to some more improvements in volatility going into like next couple of days. So that being said, guys, thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very, very soon in the next video. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And once again, guys, take care. Market to the moon because the long term is very bright. I still think the market has more upside for the end of the year coming, but for now, the market is very flat amidst this report. Please keep that in mind. Thank you for listening, and peace out.